won't be a perfect seal by any means.
Yeah.
It's, you know, even with.
You don't want it to.
Yeah, you don't want it perfect, yeah, I completely agree. You still have piping going in and out, there's gonna be penetrations that aren't completely perfectly sealed. And that was something that was discussed that, well, geez, are we gonna still have too much cold air getting in there? If we're preventing 90% of the air and really the wind coming across
Yeah.
and swooping in there, that's really all we wanna prevent. To get that ice, you know, that piping was the real thing that was the issue, so I don't think we'll have any issues.
You don't wanna have too much methane build up,
No,
and it's a hazard too.
yeah, completely agree.
Well, and Clint had lots.
Your bugs are dying off and they're freezing out. So, I think it's gonna probably increase his ability to treat and his ability, especially with the sludge holding tank, so, to keep those bugs alive, and that's the point of it. So, I think it's a real good alternative and a win-win for both, and it's kind of a no-brainer to do, so.
These
No,
hatch
that's fine.
covers that you were talking about?
Yep. They're
that's-
they're aluminum hinged on the outside, so you'll be able to pull those.
Physically, a healthy,
Oh, yeah.
a healthy
Oh, yeah.
guy can pull it up, not a big deal to
Yeah.
access down in
No,
there.
I think they're maybe 3 feet long, that's what I was looking at, and they're not, with them being aluminum, they're not super duper heavy. And that's the point of having that, so that they can flip them
Sure.
over, flip them back.
Cause otherwise, when you set those, you said you needed a crane in order to set the other.
Well, the
concrete.
because those will come, those precast, that'll come in, they're actually a T section, and then they'll pour, we call it a curb around it, cause they'll actually set that T, and then they'll have to pour in, on that outside, they'll pour that in so that it'll seal it on the actual outside, so, yeah, there is, those Ts, they're gonna be heavy, if we ever have to pull those Ts back off, we'll need a crane. to
We would
pull
need
those
a
back.
crane
Yep.
to do that.
Yep. So, and I don't think he really, if he's not having issues with the aeration equipment, he usually doesn't have to pull those. He's been pulling those because they get bent up. And hopefully we're preventing that so that we don't have to pull them near as often when we flip open the panels. But they'll wanna flip it open just to take a peek inside, so.
It sounds like a pretty specialized operation. Do you think we'll get some competitive bids for this, since it's like that, or?
We'll get some competitive bids on the precast. There's a lot of companies that will spec that, and it's not such a long section that they can bring it down pretty easily on a flatbed trailer. So you probably get pretty decent pricing in regards to that. I know the one, we've contacted a couple out of state that were interested in bidding those precast panels, so. I would assume that we'll be able to get a couple of competitive numbers on that. It's a little specialized in regards to, the actual guys that are installing, but they're kind of a smaller portion of it, that those big precast panels are probably gonna be your big selling item. So even if we would only get one bid in the background, those people are getting 4 quotes on the big portion of the
Material,
project.
yeah.
Yep, so.
Are there any other communities around that you're aware of that have gone to, that are using this type?
Yeah, the flat, yep, there is,
That you work with?
I had a list of them, I had emailed them. Yep, Winterset had done them,
Something Grove.
I think
Ida?
Mason City even had some, Eagle Grove had some.
Oh,
There was about 6 of them that, one of the engineers that I was working with, said, well, you know, they just want a list of who, and he said, well, just give me 5 minutes, and in 5 minutes, he had rattled off about 10 of them, and emailed them over to me, and said, well, good.
that's good. I mean, I didn't want us to be kind of like an experimental type of
No, no.
situation where we
Yeah,
would be, have to
yeah.
work the bugs out for somebody else, but if it's,
No,
you know,
it's
an
regularly,
application.
yep, it's regularly used, and, I think one of the things that hasn't been a ton is, the concrete coating on it, the coating of the concrete. And, I don't think that's braces and a belt, but I think to some standpoint it is. It's just, if you're gonna spend that much money on your concrete, why not protect it? Especially if it's a roll-on system that you can just, you know, you need to roll it on again later, it's pretty easy. So, I mean, and it is just a, you know, it's just like a paint that they roll on. So it's pretty thick, and it's not gonna be fun rolling it on underneath the second time, because it's probably gonna need to be emptied out at that standpoint, but, it'll have to be emptied out at some point in time too, they're cleaned out,
Okay.
so, yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any additional questions?
Move to approve?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, we gotta do
Oh,
it.
gotta vote
Roll
on this
call
one.
vote.
Goodell,
Aye.
Slater,
Aye.
Scholl,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye. Okay, the next one is a resolution approving contract change order number 2, Blacktop Service Company of Humboldt, Iowa, for the roadway system maintenance project for a net increase of $21,187.50.
Okay, this will pave the west part of the alley between, the 100 block of 5th and 6th Street South, to replace the entrance. You can see up on the screen, I've got a, picture that shows you the exact area. You wanna kinda
Yeah.
go into
Yep, this one, I think the east half had been replaced at some point, but the west half hadn't been replaced. And if you drive down it, you can tell it. And it's pretty well deteriorated, and the water just ponds in in those locations where you get a dip in your asphalt, then your asphalt pops out. So what we plan to do is we plan to take out the pavement here, and then they take out actually about, well, I don't think there's a lot of asphalt to take out, but then they'll probably take out a full section of 12 inches, they'll put back 6 inches of rock, and then they'll put 6 inches of asphalt back in, just shown on that typical section. And like they did on the east side, there will be a V channel in the middle, so it'll be a reverse crown, so that the water will be able to get out of that alley and escape onto the roadway, go behind back the curb, then eventually goes to storm sewer. As a part of that, the driveway was pretty beat up, so that'll be replaced at the same time. They'll replace the curb and gutter there, which will be 2.5 feet, and they'll replace the sidewalk on both sides of it. It kind of just started deteriorating that driveway, and it broke up the sidewalk as it continued. So they'll replace those 2 sections of sidewalk also. And we went through their prices in regards to this, and compared them to their prices on the overall project, and just